So we light the first candle in honor of Christianity. Dear friends, if our hearts do not condemn us, we have confidence before God and receive from him anything we ask, because we keep his commands and do what pleases him. We light the second candle in honor of Islam. Unity is written on the tablet of your heart. You should continue studying that tablet for eternity. You have spent a lifetime reading scriptures and consumed yourself in this pursuit of ignorance. You have only to remember the one word of God and keep on practicing that one word. We light this candle in honor of the Sikh religion. God, the helper of the helpless, the strength of the weak, the supporter of the fallen, the true Father of all. Forgive us, O Lord, all our faults. Extend your helping hand to everyone. Grant us the company of those who may help keep your name fresh in our hearts. We light this candle in honor of Buddhism. The only real failure in life is not to be true to the best one knows. We light this candle in honor of the Native American traditions. When you know who you are, when your mission is clear, and you burn with the inner fire of unbreakable will, no cold can touch your heart. No deluge can dampen your purpose. You know that you are alive. We light this candle in honor of Hinduism. Aim at complete harmony of thought and word and deed. Always aim at purifying your thought, and all shall be well. And we light the final candle in honor of Judaism. Who is wise? One who learns from every person. Who is strong? One who overpowers his inclinations. Who is rich? One who is satisfied with his lot. Who is honorable? One who honors his fellows.
Today's reading is from Ernest Holmes, Creating a Value-Based Life. The desire you have to be something, to do something, is a mental echo in your mind of the spirit which already exists within you. It is an impact of your divine and spiritual self upon your mental or psychological self. It is the spirit in you seeking an adventure of expression through you. It is the real self you would like to be. The deep spiritual self, having all knowledge, having access to all power, being one with life. It is a transcendent, triumphant self. Let's take these words into the silence. So I know, centered in the oneness that we are, that everything about the service today is God expressing, God unfolding. Every note played, every note sung, every word spoken, every action is God unfolding for everyone's highest and best good. And so we stand centered in this truth of our real selves, our God selves, that we are divine beings, and every expression of God is unfolding right here, right now. And I thank you, God, for the time that we are sharing together. And together we say, and so it is.
Before I start, did everybody find a little piece of flash paper in their programs? Yes? Good. And there's a pen there are pens strewn around on the floor if you need something to write with. You don't need it yet. You'll need it at the end. I just wanted to make sure everybody had one. So, another year, another circle round the sun, as the song says. I'm amazed because it went by so darn fast. But what can you do? So during 2016, we looked at that global vision, that thing that we all hold as what we want to see become manifest in our world, a world that works for everyone. We kind of broke it down and explored what it is that we have to become in order that this world gets made manifest through us. And we talked some about the path. Oh, you better turn it on and move this, huh? Is it on? Okay. I'll move this so that so this is not what they see from the... I turned it on one day just to see what was happening, and all I could see was the screen. I couldn't see any part of me. It like blocked my whole self. Thank you, Kenny. Anyway, we talked some about the path between the world as we know it and this world that works for everyone. And there are guideposts on the path that help us and strengthen us and remind us where we are as we're traveling. And they can keep our feet on the path when we're about to stray, and we're always about to stray, are we not? All the time. But the path belongs to the spiritual self, the higher self, and the straying belongs to the human self. And those two aspects, of course, are always there together. But sometimes we get too comfortable in our humanness, let me put it that way. We find that we're stuck on just the human, and very infrequently are we stuck on just the spiritual. Most of the time we're stuck on just the human, or maybe it's just me. Am I the only one? I didn't think so. So these guideposts are what we call values. And each of us has a set of personal values that are derived from our life experience and also from this powerful inner force. Some people call it conscience, but conscience is too small a word for this, I think. I call it the soul. It's that part of us that is in connection with the all, in connection with what I call God, in connection with each other. It's that deepest, truest part of ourselves. And the force of the soul contributes to our values, our personal values as well. And so during 2017, we're going to examine the values that we hold to be true, not to tell anyone what their personal values should be. We're going to discuss the values we have agreed upon as a collective body and explore what it means to live in accordance with those values. You may remember, some of you, about 18 or so months ago, our home office commissioned a study of all of the centers for spiritual living around the world to determine what our shared values as a movement, as a denomination are. And out of that was born this movement-wide project of 2017, creating a values-based life. Part of that process was that each center could, if they desired, have their community's values measured as well. And we did that. And the cover of your bulletin shows a word cloud that's comprised of this community's shared values: love, spiritual living, compassion. Do you know that we were the only center, we were the only center in the country who had compassion as one of their top 3 values? We are a compassionate bunch. It's amazing. Love, spiritual living, compassion, transformation, diversity and inclusivity, continuous improvement. I love that. Continuous improvement. Integrity, accountability, creativity, financial health, community service, safety, communication, and evolution. They're fabulous values. So all of these values together, if we practice them as a community, create what Martin Luther King called the beloved community, the birthing place of a world that works for everyone, the birthing place of it. And it starts, of course, with each one of us. So what I wanted to do today was to just talk a little bit about what a value is and and how we get there. You know, it's an important and lasting sort of ideal or belief about what's good and desirable. Our values influence our behavior and our thinking. They are the foundation of our expression in the world, if you will. They exemplify our principles and bring life to what we hold to be important. When we're aware of what our values are, our deepest values, and when we live according to those values, then we are expressing our authentic self. And the problem is that most of us haven't taken the time to actually define what our values really are. Whether we might have ideas about what we think they are, but do we define which the values are really guiding our lives? Do we define which values we really want to guide our lives? Have we brought this into consciousness? I think many times we don't. So what we wind up doing is living according to the values of the society or culture around us, which is what Ernest Holmes, our founder, would call race mind or collective consciousness. And the lack of awareness and of our own values and this living in accordance with what some outside force tells us produces in us confusion and fear and struggle and a sense of lack because we're not in integrity. And all of that shows up as disease, discomfort, stress, lack of peace, which is not how any of us want to live. We don't want to live that way. If you want to know what values run your life, look at what you're experiencing. Are these outside values or inward values? If you're experiencing, for example, a lot of conflict in life, there's a value behind that that's driving you into those circumstances. What value might that be? Well, for some people it might be that you value strength, so you never want to show up as weak. Or maybe it's because you don't think you really have the right to speak your own truth. It can be several things. Ernest Holmes, our founder, said, "A true estimate of real values cannot be built on the shifting sands of time alone. In the long run, the merciful will obtain mercy. In the long run, we shall reap as we have sown." So if we want to reap something different, we have to sow a different value, right? We have to begin to draw on a different value. So if we want to experience more peace in our lives, it's time to raise peacefulness up to the position of prime value. This is what I want to live according to, peacefulness. Because when we do that, when we live according to our deepest, highest, greatest values, then, you know, what Holmes called our transcendent, triumphant self, we're being authentic. We're being authentic. And to be authentic, to feel in alignment, mind, body, and soul, is to be happy and productive and healthy and fulfilled in that role that we're here to fulfill and express. That unique, divine being that each of us is here to be. When we embody our personal values, our deep personal values in everything we do, we're serving ourselves, but more than that, we're serving the whole, and we're serving the ultimate. We're serving God. And if we don't know who we are, it's really hard to be authentic. If we don't know what those values really are. I think one of the very first things to do is to define what those values are, and that they are our values, not the values of the church we grew up in or any other church, including this one, not the values of society or our family or somebody else's definition of what smart is or beautiful is or valuable is. They need to be those things which speak to the deepest parts of us individually. And once we've been able to find a value that resonates with us in that deep way, that fits our being, one that we can unconditionally say we want to uphold, then we can commit to it as a guide for our lives, as a lantern that will guide us and lead us in a direction that sustains and fulfills us, that lets that true, authentic, actualized self show up in the world. So when we come to a decision point, it becomes much easier if we know what those values are. We can say, which action most closely aligns with my values? Which action, which word, which whatever it is. And sometimes a single value or two or three will become clear to us, and then we act in the closest accordance with those values that we hold. And as we discover the deep values, I know this is true for me, I'm sometimes shocked at how out of alignment my day-to-day living is, my day-to-day decisions is, when I compare them to those values. And it's partly because we've been trained to be of the world rather than in the world, as Jesus put it. We're here living too much in the human. We are focused and too comfortable in our humanness by itself. But the price that we pay when we do that is that we find ourselves out of alignment, out of integrity. Whenever I do something that doesn't align with my deepest values, I feel it, and it doesn't feel good. It feels like guilt, sometimes shame, embarrassment, anger. Sometimes I get angry with myself. Whatever it is, it doesn't feel good. I feel like I've been living downward instead of living upward. So learning to simply ask, how does what I'm contemplating align with my values? That can help me light my path. Help me realize where to put my feet next. Help me do what I most want to do. Remember St. Paul said, why do I do the things I don't want to do and I don't do the things I want to do? Because he wasn't in alignment with his values. Is it difficult? Yeah. We're changing habitual behavior. We're changing habitual thinking. And that requires diligence. It's not hard, it just requires diligence. And it also requires us to be very kind to ourselves. Because we will stray and err and mess up, and we have to forgive ourselves and keep trying. That's all we can do, is forgive ourselves and keep trying. When we find ourselves straying from this newly clarified set of values and falling back into an old, unconscious way of being, then we have to gently and lovingly forgive ourselves and get back on the path. That's all we can do. It's time to also let go of the fear and the resistance, and the value thing is weird because we will find ourselves having two opposing values, and we have to choose which one we're going to follow. Like the value of being strong. That's not a bad thing. But it's a bad thing when we let it make us aggressive. When it's a bad thing when we say, I'm going to be strong at any cost. Sometimes, in the moment we have to look at the behavior and say, which is the value I want to support in this moment? Do I want to move more towards peacefulness, or am I going to hold on to this old idea that this is the only way to do things? My woman, hear me roar, So we have two competing values, and we have to make a choice, which is why it's good to know which values rank where in our actual spiritual path. We get to see, once we do that, once we choose a value that we want to focus on for a while, we will get to see all the fear, all the opposing values, all the old behavior, all the habituated stuff. It will rise up for us and say, here I am. It's beautiful. It's like a self-modulating system. So we get to see all those things moment by moment and address them and let them go. The resentments, all the old junk. And when we see it, then we're at choice. Can I choose to let this go? Or is this something I want to keep doing? How's it been working for me thus far? Another important question. So what I want to do with that flash paper is a two-part meditative process. And we're going to do a little values clarification first. Then we're going to see what rises up, what we want to let go of. And during our closing prayer, we will not burn the place down, I promise. Famous last words. No eyebrows, no nothing. We're gonna gather up the flash paper and we are going to release all that stuff in flame. So make sure you have flash paper and there's a pen on the floor near you, I'm sure of it. And then just get comfortable. Just sit back in your chair and take a couple of deep breaths. And as you do that, let yourself relax. Let the muscles in your scalp relax. Let the muscles around your eyes and mouth relax. Let your neck relax and your shoulders and your back all the way down. The chair you're sitting on will do all the work. It will hold you up. So just relax. And now begin to imagine that you're breathing from your heart. As you inhale, it moves into the heart, and as you exhale, it moves out of the heart. And as you inhale, imagine that you are inhaling a golden light of love. And just let it fill your whole being. This is love with a capital L. No conditions, no ifs, ands, or buts. You need do nothing to earn it. It is yours. It is the unconditional love of God for its creation, of spirit for its universe. And as it fills you completely, imagine that you're exhaling it as well. So you inhale love and you exhale love. And now ask yourself, what is the value I most wish to express in my being at this time? And just let the answer come to you. You don't have to list them all, just something you might want to bring to the top of the list. Maybe it's compassion or empathy. Maybe it's non-judgment, peacefulness, love. Whatever it is, just let it come into your mind and heart. And now ask yourself, what might the expression of this value look like in my life? What thoughts would I be thinking? What words would I be speaking? What actions would I be taking if I were living in complete alignment with this value? And now say to yourself, I choose to live in alignment with this value. I will use it as a touchstone and a guidepost to lead me into a fuller, freer, happier life. As you imagine yourself thinking and speaking and doing in accordance with this value, what rises up? What must you let go of? What resistance is in you to choosing alignment with this value? What old thinking needs to be let go of? And just let the answer come to you. And when you have it, write it on the flash paper. What stands in my way? What needs to be released? And know that as the flash paper gets gathered up and burned, ultimately, that resistance, that fear, that old habit is destroyed. From that moment forward, nothing stands in the way of your being fully and completely the embodiment of your chosen value. And so wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingers and come back to this room. And when you're ready, open your eyes and our ushers will gather up that flash paper from you. And as they do, I want to share a quote from Richard Rohr, who was a Catholic priest and contemplative, who writes wonderful things. He wrote, "Spirituality is whatever it takes to keep your heart space open." I love that. Spirituality is whatever it takes to keep your heart space open. That is daily, constant work, because your ego and the events of your life want to close it down. The voices in the dominant culture tell you to judge, dismiss, hate, and fear. You have to work to live in love, to develop a generosity of spirit, a readiness to smile, a willingness to serve instead of take. Each morning, take your inner temperature, observing if your energy is loving or not. I love it. This is the way to live in alignment with the value, isn't it? We take our temperature in the morning and say, where am I with this? Where am I? So I invite you to let your daily work be alignment with the highest values of your being. Let your spiritual practice be the process of determining and aligning with those highest values. And being very kind to yourself and forgiving yourself when you slip off the path. Simply recommit and get back on. With an open heart and a commitment to your values, you will see your life begin to take on greater depths, greater joy, greater peace, greater largeness, greater beauty, greater happiness. Okay, come on. Get them in there. Static, oh my goodness.
They're wanting to hang on.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that, isn't it? They hang on tough. Uh-oh, now they're sticking to me. I'm trying to get my warming up. There we go. There, whoa. Okay, so let's pray. Now let's simply acknowledge the Spirit that is everywhere present, the power and presence that is in every moment and every place. That Spirit that lives in us and through us as individuals and in us and through us as this community. And what I know right now is that in this moment and forevermore, We move together into a greater expression of the values that we hold sacred and holy and good. The foundation of the world that works for everyone, for all life. And so we release anything that is unlike these values, anything that stands in our way, individually and collectively. Anything that stands in the way of that larger life. And because God is as God is, we release them like this. It's this easy. Hair's still on my arms, eyebrows are still in existence. And so the obstacles that stand in our way are gone. They are gone. They have been released. They have been released. And so all that is left is the beautiful, ever more beautiful, ever larger and greater and more beautiful expression of life that each one of us is and that we are as a community. So in gratitude we accept. We say yes to a more beautiful, more loving, more just, more glorious, more peaceful existence. We say yes to a world that is based in love and kindness and sharing and generosity. We say yes to all that a world that works for everyone means for all of us. And in deep gratitude, we simply let it be so, knowing that it is already done. And we say together, and so it is.
I am just a thread, a simple thread in this glorious web of life.
We are all just drops within a stream, flowing towards an ocean of light. We may forget where we come from, we may forget where we're going to. I might not see that you're a reflection of me as much as I'm a reflection of you. I am just a seed, a message seed with eternity unfolding in me, and I pray
so we now have an opportunity to give in support of our community here. Your gifts and your offerings let us be here on Sunday and provide us the opportunity to offer space for meditation and other spiritual practice and the classes and the workshops we offer, and a place for our kids to learn how to live according to their spiritual magnificence. So we are incredibly grateful for all of you and your gifts and all that you bring here. And because all this community does, as we grow together as people of service, touches so many lives, so many lives. As we move through the world, each of us inspiring others to change the way that they think and the way that they react, and teach, we're inspiring them to live from their spiritual magnificence. They become happier, more productive, more content. We touch many, many people. Every one of us here does. And so I ask you to remember that about yourselves and about this community. And affirm with me, I am joyful.
I am joyful.
I am free.
I am free.
I am grateful.
I am grateful.
I give with gratitude.
I give with gratitude.
And I say yes to all the good life offers.
And I say yes to all the good life offers.
And so it is. I have something to say about that song. There's a line in there that says, we'll get it together and we'll get it all done. Baloney. That never happens, does it? Do we ever get it all done? There's always something else to do. I can get myself together as much as I want, and I still can't get it all done. How about you? Ever get done? Never get done. Never, ever. Yeah, something new always shows up. That's right, Becky. But I do like the Raise of the Beautiful Sun part. That's nice.
That part. That was awesome.
Oh, let's give it back here.
Oh,
Give it. No, this one goes with me.
Oh.
Keep it away from Mark.
This is my. I know I have to keep it away from Mark. This is my personal, in my desk, lighter.
Okay.
Because otherwise, I'd been here with a little short lighter, going, "Oh my God, how am I going to do this?" I have to hide this for the occasional burning bowl, right? That's what it's for. All right, let's get serious. In your bulletin is a postcard for next weekend. Next Sunday, please bring a friend with you to service so you can just hand them that postcard if it's somebody you think will like what we offer here. There's some extras over at the Welcome Center. We're going to have soup and salad in the Consciousness Cafe after the service, and we would love to see you, for sure, and anyone that you would like to bring to experience our service here next Sunday. Today is birthday Sunday. We have a lot of December babies. Maggie Pierce, Carla Sutton, Jean King, Kenny Rice, Nanette Brawley, Tom Cooper, Izetta Thompson, Tina Stafford, Aidan Kimbler, Jason Thomas, Marianne Fry, Paul Hayford, Ken Leibrock, Susan Wagner, Sarah McKenzie, and Stephanie Stewart. Woo! Happy birthday, all of you December babies! March is a cold month. Okay. So we have cake and coffee, birthday cake and fruit in the social hall, including gluten-free cake because we have a wizard at the helm here in the social hall. So join us for coffee and cake in the social hall after service. In your bulletin is a reminder that if you have your Kroger Plus card, community, what's it called? I can't remember. Community Rewards Program, or your Dorothy Lane Market card, if you have it set to us, you have to renew it every year. So go online and renew that connection with Center for Spiritual Living so that we continue to, when you shop, a couple times a year we get a check, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So if you haven't set that up already, you can do it online at Kroger.com or shopdlm.com. Next Saturday at 3 p.m., Kelly and a group of people will be meeting here at the center to put away the Christmas decorations since we're into the new year. So if you could help, please show up Saturday at 3 p.m. That would be the 7th of January, and help undecorate for the new year. We would greatly appreciate that. Take a look at the calendar page, the page that's headed calendar in your bulletin. And at the insert for more information on what's happening around here. We have 2 great classes coming up. We have a winter hike coming up. We have all kinds of great stuff. So take a look at that so you don't miss out on everything or anything. If you would like prayer after the service for if your life is great and you want more, if you're having difficulty with something, any of the licensed prayer practitioners who are here will be happy to pray with you. Just look for the teal or the white prayer shawls. Just ask them, say, I'd like prayer. And they have studied and practiced and prayed for a long time in order to be able to hone in on the spiritual truth, which sometimes we can't see when we're in the middle of something, but they can. And it's their gift to you on Sunday, a 1-minute miracle of prayer. You can also put a written prayer request in the darker wooden chest by the door. We'll pick it up after service. You can call our prayer line. You can actually even go onto our website and make a prayer request that way. And we love to pray, and so we'll be happy to pray for you and with you. So, thanks to everybody who made this morning's service happen. Our ushers and our greeters and our practitioners and the welcome team and this whole amazing bunch of musicians that we call the Higher Mind Band. It was just so fabulous. And all of you. And don't forget, as soon as we finish up, to be sure to get your 10 to 12 hugs that before you leave. They're good for your mental health. So get your hugs. And right now, let's stand for our closing affirmation and our closing song, which is a lovely version of Auld Lang Syne. Let's know first. Today, I let my highest values guide all that I do.
Today I let my highest values guide all that I do.
I stand in integrity.
I stand in integrity.
I stand on holy ground.
I stand on holy ground.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.